So upon her return from her 12-hour Twitter ban, radical Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene announced she's holding a press conference in her office. The press conference was primarily highlighted by terrible audio where you can barely hear the people asking the questions and you can barely hear Marjorie Taylor Greene. We've amped up the audio level so that you hopefully will be able to hear it. And this first question goes right to, I don't know how these right wingers get fixated on bogus talking points that make no sense, but they do. And Marjorie Taylor Greene is a big proponent of the HIPAA bogus vaccine talking point. All right, so let's listen to this one first.
Aaron Navarro, CBS News. Whip Scalise said today he got vaccinated, citing this Delta variant that's going around, and said he's confident that it's safe and effective. Two questions. Have you yourself gotten vaccinated, and do you disagree with the Republican whip?
Well, your first question is a violation of my HIPAA rights. You see, with HIPAA rights, we don't have to reveal our medical records, and that also involves our vaccine records.
So that is a complete and total lie. This has been repeated. Sean Hannity has said it. Marjorie Taylor Greene has said it a bunch of times. A journalist asking a public figure who is talking about the merits of vaccination is not a violation of HIPAA rights. HIPAA stipulates how information that is held by healthcare and healthcare insurance companies has to be protected from fraud and theft. It relates to the digital transmission of such information, and it relates to those entities exclusively. It has nothing to do with media questions. It just has nothing to do with it. When you go into a doctor's office and you're given something that's their privacy policy and how they protect your data and who they will share data, that's governed by HIPAA. When you are a congresswoman who lies about vaccines and a journalist says, "Are you vaccinated?" the question doesn't violate anything related to HIPAA. She's not forced to answer. She didn't, by the way. And it's genuinely stunning that, I know stupid talking points catch on. This is a really, really stupid talking point. And I tweeted about this last night saying, could anybody tell her that HIPAA relates to medical providers and privacy, not journalists asking public figures questions? One common reaction was basically, David, she's been vaccinated, but she wants to give certain people who follow her the idea that she hasn't, because that's what a lot of her whole indignant perspective and approach is predicated on. The idea that she's opposing the vaccine and putting her money where her mouth is, or putting her health where her mouth is, when in reality she's been vaccinated. Maybe that's the case. I don't know. Maybe she has been vaccinated. But if you're telling everyone to be skeptical of the vaccine, it's relevant and completely appropriate for journalists to say, have you been vaccinated? Now, let's continue. Just a couple other disgusting moments from this thing. She was, as in her statement, she said something about, if you're not obese and you're not over 65, you're not going to die. So therefore, you don't need to be vaccinated. And someone points out to her, skinny people and kids have also died. And she just laughs.
It's dangerous.
Do you feel any responsibility for keeping people in Georgia safe? You know, there are children, skinny people who have died of the coronavirus. Do you feel any responsibility?
Tia, you crack me up. You know what? I think people's responsibility is their own.
So this is just continued disgusting stuff. I mentioned this when we talked about when Joe Rogan said a couple months ago, young people don't need to get vaccinated. There's no reason for young people to get vaccinated. I'm paraphrasing. And he said, if you eat a good diet and you exercise. I have looked and have still found no study that suggests diet and exercise makes you less susceptible to the virus in terms of an infection, which you may then spread. Certainly underlying health makes you less likely to have a serious case. That's true. But we live in a society, folks, and this stuff from Marjorie Taylor Greene is just disgusting. One last moment. Marjorie Taylor Greene lashed out at Marie Newman in a transphobic rant. Marie Newman is a congressional candidate. Newman's daughter is transgender. Newman has talked about how the lack of support for trans people and trans youth influenced her running for office. And here's Marjorie Taylor Greene in a transphobic rant.
Congresswoman Marie Newman called you a deeply broken person and hoped that you would get some help. Do you have any response to this?
I think my colleague, Democrat Marie Newman, that is across the hall from me, should probably get some help herself, because she's the one that attacked me on a video by planting a flag out there in the hallway, but starting on my nameplate. You see, she started that. You do understand that, right?
She started it, guys.
She started by a video on my nameplate, and then it pans to her where in a militant fashion she plants a flag. But and then she talks about her biological son, who she calls her daughter. And she talks about
and of course, I hope you guys know, when using this phraseology of her son who she calls her daughter, which completely delegitimizes every aspect of transgender individuals. It's just, Marie Newman is just calling something a different name than it actually should be called, right? It's completely dehumanizing.
She wants her son to be able to go in women's bathrooms and have all the same rights as women. But you know what? I have daughters too. And I don't want men in my daughter's bathroom.
So just a completely disgusting transphobic bathroom rant from Marjorie Taylor Greene. Really, truly, genuinely a despicable person. If she gets reelected, and she's presumably going to run, we are really going to have to concede that this virus of Trumpism is probably going to be here to stay for some significant period of time. Our sponsor, PureVPN, is having a huge 14th anniversary sale, offering everybody in my audience a subscription for under $3 a month. PureVPN is a service I trust because it has more servers than any other VPN on the market. And it's the only VPN with an always-on third-party audit to verify that your internet activity is not being logged. PureVPN keeps me anonymous online, keeps me safe from hackers, government surveillance, any websites trying to track me, and it lets me also access awesome streaming content which wouldn't otherwise be available in my country on platforms like Netflix and a whole bunch of others. I can stay logged into PureVPN on up to 10 of my devices at the same time, and it's so easy to use. You click 2 buttons to set it up. You need no computer expertise at all. You can get PureVPN at a huge discount, just $288 a month, when you go to davidpakman.com/VPN. The link is right under this video. And you'll get an additional 14% off when you use the coupon code HBD14.